Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Monday, September 9th. It is 6:25 right now. Market's going to open in about 5 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set up this room real quick, and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. It's got a few things here to update, and we should be good to go. All right, looks good. Let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. Link sent out. All right, as people join in, start marking up liquidity over here. All right, back to the 1 minute. And it looks like we're good. All right, guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Monday, September 9th. Hopefully everyone had a great weekend. 6:28 right now. Market's gonna open up in about 2 minutes. I've marked up liquidity over here. Closest level of liquidity below is at 48,688. There's no upper level liquidity that's nearby. It's pretty far up at 41,080 for the day. So there goes liquidity. Looking over here at the 100-point move, I'll be looking for a possible buy today. I figured out a strategy that works with the summer market conditions, guys. I'll try to be applying it today. It's going to be very similar to the high-low scalp version 2. I don't know if I'll get one today because price needs to push it pretty high for me to get that entry, but I will be looking for a possible entry. I think you guys will like it a lot. It's a 1 to 2 risk reward. So it's a positive risk reward, basically make 2, lose 1, with the ability to move stop loss and profit for 1-to-1. So we got market opening up in about 10 seconds for this 100-point move. It's going to be for a buy today. We got market opening up in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Market is now open. So I got this filled in right there. See if I can correct this a little bit. So the TP is at 799. Drag this up a little bit. And the stop loss is at 7,599. All right, looks good. So I'll come back and take a look at this a little later. It's going to be running right now. Let's go back over here to our clean chart. So for our market flow entries, I'm gonna wait for new momentum to come up. The ATR is currently at 19 right now, so it's kind of slow. I'll just wait for new momentum to come up. The first level of liquidity right here just got hit. So if you guys took that, it looks like it already hit full TP. So this lower level right here got hit immediately on open, the markup opening price, which is right here. No entries for us available here yet, or no official entries yet. I'm gonna be looking for price to, if it does close with the sell signal, I'll look for it to come down, retrace, come back down further. But until we get that sell signal, there's not gonna be any sells here, at least not yet. What else we got here? All right, so we're good with this right now. There's no entries available yet. We're gonna look for that sell signal to close. In order for us to get that entry that I was just referring to, so if you guys are just joining, all weekend I pretty much was testing out this one strategy that works in a sideways market, which is perfect for the summer market. I tested it as far back as I could up until like August, July, and it works pretty well. So I'll be looking to apply it if I can. It works both for YM and NQ. So like, for example, right here for NQ, if this here ends up coming back down, I'll just mark it up here and I'll come back and take a look at it a little later. Comes back down, this is where the entry is going to happen. I don't trade NQ, so I'm not going to take this one. If it happens on YM, I'll take it. But for NQ, I'll just be testing it for now to see if if the entry comes out and plays out. It's basically going to be a 1 to 2 risk to reward. It's basically a correction strategy. It's very similar to the high-low scalp version 2. If you guys remembered, you look for price break past the high-low and then look for it to swing back down in the direction of the trend or momentum. So I'll be coming back to take a look at this later. But anyways, we haven't gotten the sell signal here yet. The next level of liquidity here got hit, guys. So if you guys took that level of liquidity, it would have to cut into the sessions right here. Not one that I personally take, but there's another setup right there for liquidity if you guys did decide to take this level down here. And it looks like it already hit for 10 points if you guys did take that. I'm going to clean this up a little bit, take that off. So the setup that I was just talking about may possibly work here.
Order filled.
So what I'm going to be looking for over here, looks like our 100-point move did not work out today, which is completely fine. Like I said before, it's a slightly break-even strategy. So it's not really meant to hit every day. So the 100-point move did not work for today. We're done with that. We are now looking for some market flow entries. And I'm also trying to test out this other strategy that I mentioned that works in a ranging market. So if this pulls back down right here for NQ, this is going to be the entry. For YM over here, I'm going to be looking for price to come back up and then swing back down. It's going to be a pretty far drop right here, though, if it does. All right, so I'm testing a lot of things right here. For our official entries, the market flow, there's not going to be one here yet, but I'll be looking. So let's see, in order for us to get a market flow entry here, I need price to swing up, bounce off the pivot, come back down. The problem with this here is that it's going to be right next to the sessions. So I don't think I'll be able to take any market flow entries around this area. I'd have to wait for it to break past the sessions in order for me to take that. But the other thing that's available is going to be the I'll call it a so I think I'll call it, I'm not gonna give it a name yet. I'll just, for right now, I'll call it sessions. I'll call it sessions to sessions. That's kind of what I'm looking for here. I'm looking for price to come up, and then I'm looking for it to correct back down and move to the next sessions below. So there may be opportunity right here for that entry. So let me see if I can maybe. All right. So I'm just gonna put the pending order right here. In case it comes back down.
Order submitted.
So I have a pending order just waiting right here. If it comes back down, I'm going to be testing out the strategy, guys. You know, a lot of these strategies I have to test in the live market because it's the only way to really test it. So I'm testing it right here. This is only a one contract, a single contract. It doesn't necessarily have to, it's not going to be a big risk. So I'm taking one contract on here. With that one contract, it's going to be a risk of 500. So it's basically going to be the same risk as one of these market flow entries, if not less. It's for a 100-point move, so it's like something that you kind of just let breathe. The only thing that I'm kind of wary about is I'm not sure. I've never taken two orders on NinjaTrader at once. So I don't know if this is gonna be considered like a DCA move. So I'll test the strategy out. I think this is probably the best thing for now because obviously we're in a sideways market, and this is probably gonna be the best way to really test out this specific strategy until we get back into the fall season or the market starts to move directional. Obviously, the market flow entries work perfect during the directional markets, but it doesn't really work well during the sideways markets. So I'm going to test this out. I've been testing it for the past couple, or as far as I can go back, basically 2-3 months, and it works out pretty well. It's a longer hold. So I have the entry right here for a sell stop, guys. It's at 40,618 at the Asia session high right here. I'll be aiming for it to basically, and let me show you real quick, because the logic makes a lot of sense. Or let me do it on the clean chart because it's going to make a lot more sense to you. So here's a clean chart. Okay, so here's a clean chart right here. Basically, what the logic behind the strategy is that you're looking for price to come up, come back, or basically break the session. Ideally, this isn't the type of entry that you want to look for. You want price to be up down here, push up, and then correct back down. That's something that you want to look for. But because price was already up, it's the same pattern, but it's just in the opposite direction like this. So we had price come down, fake out, come back up, fake out, and then come back down below right here. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for price to break past the sessions right here and then push down to the next sessions. But I've capped my TP stop loss at 200 points because, you know, it's a big push. If I push all the way down to the next session, this is like a 220 point push, which again is very possible, but because there's a cap, well, not really a cap, but like your stop loss would have to go wider. I think 100 points is good for one contract. This is going to risk about $500. So you're basically risking 500 to make 1,000. And then what I have here is I have my trailing stop loss. So what happens here is when price comes down to 1-to-1, which is 100 points. So when price comes down to 100 points right here, my stop loss gets moved in profit. So I basically guarantee a 1-to-1 here for 100 points. And then if it pushes down further and doesn't retrace back, I get the full 1-to-2. If that makes sense, guys. But anyways, that's a strategy that I'm testing out right here. I have my pending sell stop right here, just waiting. If price does come back down below, looking at the current, let's see. So I think for this here, I'm just gonna do it on this chart. I'm gonna have to make another chart here. The NQ1 hasn't filled yet. Here, I'll just have to make another chart so it's just cleaner because I don't want to have a huge mess all over the chart. Let's make a copy of this. But I do want to have a clean chart here still. So it hasn't filled yet. It's about to fill. Looks like the price does come back down lower. We don't have the sell signal here yet, so there's no market flow entries. I'm gonna try to keep this chart separate so that we have we can still look for market flow entries. Because it can't do too much on one chart like that. Okay. Put that right there. I'll color it green. I'll set an actual alert there once it comes time. But okay, it's not filled yet. Okay, perfect. Now I can clean this up. So there's no sell signal here yet. Until we get a sell signal, there's not going to be any market flow entries. If we do get a sell signal that comes up, like say on this candle or the next one, if price does retrace back up, come back down, there could be a possible opportunity here for market flow if anybody's looking to take that. So let's see, we got this here coming down, pending sell signal right there, still hasn't closed. Have my sell limit right there, kind of just waiting for these sessions entry. All right, so the market volatility here is a little low. The NQ entry hasn't filled yet. Let's put these over here like this. All right, so it hasn't filled yet. Here's our clean chart. Let me leave that up. So we got structure right there. You guys can kind of see how price here is just ranging a little bit. There's not really too much going on. Price opened right here at 630. Let's mark up the opening price so that you guys know where price opened up at. Market opened right here at 630. It's pretty much been ranging between the lower end right here, 40,598, and the or 40,600, and the upper range right here, which is 40,700. So it's a 100-point range right here between this lower point and this upper point. There's no market flow entries here yet. So again, guys, until we get that sell signal, there's not going to be any market flow entries. Currently have a buy signal right here, but price hasn't been above. So until it swings above, there's not going to be any opportunity here for any buy market flow entries. If you guys are looking for some market flow entries, I'll continue to look for them. I still think the market flow entries are a great strategy, but they're a great strategy when the market is moving directional. As you guys know, it hasn't been a directional market for a while now. So that's why I kind of brainstormed last night and I was like, okay, what's the strategy that I can come up with that will work in a sideways market? The high-low scalp V2 was a really good one that we used during slow market last year. But I wanted to find structure that was a little more relevant, right? Because the high lows are they're relevant to some extent, but they're not super relevant. They're not relevant like the sessions. And what I've noticed is that when price gets to the sessions, it typically will bounce off it. If it fakes out at the sessions, it'll fake out and push to the next sessions. And that's where I came up with the strategy. It's not as simple as it sounds because I use different factors like the momentum. I still use the other tools, but the main gist of it and the catalyst for entry would be at the sessions. You got price coming back down right here. Let's see if it fills, and I'll come back and take a look at this shortly. Looks like this one's probably going to fill. And the good thing with this is that the TP stop loss is so far out. Okay, so the entry is now filled. If you guys decided to take this session to session strategy, and as you can see over here, the TP stop loss is super wide.
Order submitted.
So we have like a big area right here for price to kind of like breathe. And the problem with our market flow entries is that we kept getting caught in price kind of spiking, right? Because the stop loss was too close when we were doing a 15-15. With this here, it's 100 to 200. So we have a lot of time here to breathe. Doesn't really have to hit TP or stop loss anytime soon. You know, this could probably run for an hour, maybe 2 hours. And this is just going to run for a while. So I'm going to have this running right here. Again, it's only one contract. So you can see over here, I'm only risking a little bit. I'm currently down like $70, which is nothing. And in total, I'm only risking 500. So this is basically going to be one of my trades for the day, right? Because like I said, I'm risking about half risk, which is 500 per trade. So I'm risking 500 on this trade to make 1,000. So the positive risk reward works out. And what I've noticed from the strategy is that basically one or two of them come up. So either way, I'll be up. Either the upwards potential is like very high. I can lose 500, or I can make 1,000. Or if I take two trades, I can lose 1,000. Or if I make two trades, I like two full TPs, I can make 2,000. So basically, I can lose 1,000 to make 2,000, or I can lose 500 to make 1,000. And then my stop loss moves in profit. So if it does push back down lower, I'll have the opportunity for it to basically hit 1-to-1, which is going to be 500 profit. So again, for this strategy, I have to test it under live markets. It's the only way to truly test a strategy. I mean, you can back test as much as you want, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to execute during a live market. So let's see if the NQ1 filled. The NQ1 actually hasn't filled yet. So we got this one running right now. Let's see if we've got. So we don't really have much here to work with. There's no market flow entries here right now, as you guys can see. There may be a market flow entry here for a buy. So price is now above the pivots, and there may be a possible opportunity for market flow for a buy. The only problem here is that I currently have a position running, and I'm kind of scared to take a second position because I'm not sure if these here stack, and I think they do stack. So I might have to wait for this one here to close out before I look for the before I take anything else. Because if they stack, this is going to be considered a DCA. And they don't allow DCA for Apex. So I think at the beginning of the day, I have to decide whether I'm going to be applying the session strategy or if I'm going to be applying the market flow entries, because I can't take them at the same time if they're still running. As you guys are familiar with the DCA rule, Apex does not like that rule at all, or that strategy at all. So it's going to affect the outcome. So let's see what happens here. If this doesn't end up playing out, it's fine. I'll be looking for some market flow entries. It's just hard to tell before the market opens because you can't tell if it's going to be a ranging market or if it's going to be a directional market. This here, obviously, I would preferably take a buy, but I gotta test out the strategy. Okay, so the sessions entry didn't work out well. You can see over here it actually pushed up off the sessions. What I was aiming for here, I was aiming for it to break through and come back lower. But because I took that with one contract, the risk there wasn't very high. And now I can start looking for some possible market flow entries. So I had to take one market flow entry here. It'll pretty much balance it out. And I'll be back at break even. Or maybe even better, because I think the market flow I take a little more risk. So let me switch everything back to 7 contracts. And I'll be looking here for a market flow entry. I'll be testing the strategy throughout the week, guys. Not just throughout the week, throughout the entire month. Because this may be the new sideways entry that we'll be looking for. So looking over here at the 100-point move, it looks like it pretty much just got faked out and now it's swinging back up. Ideally, like I said, I'd rather take a buy here because looking at retail sentiment, it's currently 70% short. So I would still rather take a buy here, but again, I'll have to test these out and then apply them as they come through. The problem with this entry here for that session strategy that I was talking about is that we didn't hit it the way that I wanted to. Like typically I wanted to come above here, retrace and come back up. Or no, sorry. I wanted to come from down here, overextend and then come back down. But because the session here was below, I had to do it from an opposite route. So I had to do it from down here, up, and then back down. But towards the end of the session, I'll show you another example of like how this here works. There's no market flow entries here yet, guys. I'm still looking for a market flow entry. The problem with this here is that it's now at the opening price, so it's going to be a red flag area. What I would need to happen here is I need price to actually push up a bit higher, retrace, and come back up. We just don't have that here right now. So here's our clean chart. You can see price is still kind of going back and forth within this area. There's not really many sessions nearby, so this is the only one that I could really work with. Like I said, this happens about twice a day, once or twice a day, but usually when the sessions are close to each other. So there's a session high right here for the Asia high. The London, New York high would be up here. So ideally, the way that the strategy would work is I would need price to push up. So I would need it to push up. And then when it gets to this point right here, I'd be looking for it to push up right here and then come back down for correction. That's the type of pattern that I was looking for. Like I said earlier, the pattern over here didn't line up exactly how I wanted. Again, I'm still testing it, so I got to figure out, okay, is this going to be a type of entry that I would take if price ends up coming below, or if it's going to be something that I just avoid and then wait for it to come to like something down here, because the Asia low is right here. But again, in order for price to get to this point, I mean, it's a pretty long drop, right? So I'd look for price to come below this point here, break below it, and then come back up for correction. We'll test it again tomorrow. I don't think we're going to get another one today because the volatility here is pretty low and the sessions are pretty far off. So we're probably not going to get one today specifically. So it looks like there could have been a market flow entry right here, but it's a little too close to the opening price. I mean, this one over here could have worked, but I don't think it's one that I'd personally take. If you guys saw this one right here, price came up, came back down, and then it bounced off the pivots right down here. Personally, I'd rather take it when price is like in clear. It's not in the clear right now, but maybe a little later. All right, so I'm looking for this to climb up further. Once the market kind of dies down later around like 7:30-ish, I'll show you guys an example of that session strategy. So I pretty much tested it all last night, as far back as I can go. And I'll show you like an example from like last Friday. A cleaner example. For some reason, the sessions are super far out today. Typically, they're pretty close to each other. Like this one's all on its own. Typically, like they're like this over here with London high and New York high are on the same level. And then same with like down here, where they're kind of next to each other, right? This one's kind of far off on its own. That should have been something like some sort of red flag for me to identify. But I mean, the only way to really know is to test it out during real market. So we got price climbing up right here. It's coming back down. Now that we have price to the upside, I'm going to look for price to come down, bounce off the pivot, and swing back up from here. Yeah, it looks like we just got caught in the fake out earlier when we took the sell for the 100-point move, because it is pushing back up in a profit right here, as you guys can see. We will look for opportunity here for entry. Let me go ahead and just mark up the structure. So let me go over here to the SR zones. We're kind of doing a lot on the chart right now, but it's better to be proactive in the market than to be stale, right? Just kind of sitting here and waiting for stuff to happen. Because if you just wait for stuff to happen and nothing happens, you're kind of just wasting your time. We have to be proactive in this market because we are moving into the fall season. So there'll probably be a lot of changes from now until the end of the year with regard to market conditions. We also have the elections coming up. It's a lot of different factors here affecting the market. So as I mark up the SR zones here, this will give you a better picture as to where price is likely to retrace from and stuff. All right. Back to the 1 minute. Turn on the SRs. All right, so you guys can kind of see where price is mounting from right now. Possible market flow setting up right here. So I'll be watching this. If this swings back up green, this current candle, this will be a market flow entry. 34 seconds left on it right here. It's not looking like it's going to swing back up. About 20 seconds left right here. Yeah, this is probably not going to swing back up for a market flow entry. We'll look for the next candle. So if the next candle swings down, swings back up, this will be an entry for market flow. All right, so let me get this right here. It's at 34. So yeah, it's 704.
Order submitted.
So we got the market flow that's currently running right there. Gonna make some small adjustments to it. And the volatility here is dead again. I was hoping for the summer markets to be done with, but you guys can see the volatility here is kind of flat. I mean, market flow is running right now, but the volatility is a little flat. Typically, we want this to just shoot right back up right away. But because the volatility here just isn't very consistent, we're still technically in the summer markets. The fall season doesn't officially start until like mid-September. So we'll have to see where this here plays through. This is our first official entry for the day for market flow. I'm just going to let the trade breathe. The entry wasn't perfect, but I mean, it's never really is perfect, right? It's always off by like a point or so. But again, I'll just let the trade run, and then I'll come back and take it. We'll watch it. We'll see where this here plays through. All right. All right, hit my stop loss. It's all good. Again, like I said before, guys, this is only half risk, so it's not really a
Order
big,
filled.
it's not a big loss for me. So we have one official loss for the day for market flow. I guess I can look for one more. So this here was a loss for market flow entry. Like the volatility here again is just not very consistent. You can see it's very slow. There's no sessions right here for me to take a second opportunity for the session strategy that I was referring to you guys earlier. We're still technically in the summer market, so I think right now the best strategy that would probably be that we'd be able to use would probably be the sessions entry. the market flow entries do work well, but only when the volatility is high enough and only when there's direction in the market. Right now, there's no direction. Price is still here going sideways. Let's go to our clean chart. I mean, there's not really much going on. Price is pretty much just ranging between, right now, it's just ranging between these two levels right here. So it's all good. You know, this is the type of market where we just have to, it's a break-even market basically. Last week was good though. So if you guys traded with me last week, we did pretty good. It wasn't great, but it was decent. Like we closed the week with some pretty good profit last week. This week again, we'll see. Hopefully the market does pick back up. Let me check the calendar for the news. There's no news today. Again, this is why volatility is kind of low. There was low impact right here at 7. I forgot to take a look at this. I mean, this probably had an effect on that drop to the downside, but it's all good. It's low impact news. It's nothing that could super affect the market. We do have a lot of news on Wednesday though. So on Wednesday, we have core inflation rate, CPI, inflation rate month over month, year over year. So Wednesday's the big news day. Tuesday, there's not really much. Thursday, we have core. So pretty much inflation news Wednesday up until Friday. We have CPI on Wednesday. We have PPI, producer price index on Thursday. And then on Friday, we have Michigan consumer sentiment. So a lot of news this week starting on Wednesday. Today and tomorrow, not so much. The volatility may stay low for the duration of the, of the day and for the half of the week. But it should pick up on Wednesday. Again, there's not really much going on here. This is our clean chart. You can see prices just ranging within this area. So the entry that we took for that market flow, it was pretty much, I guess, what you could call expected. Market flow entries have been like slightly in profit. They've been break even or slightly in profit. So like a lot of the days we're either getting a break even day or we're getting a slightly profitable day, which isn't exactly what we want, right? We want price to be moving directional. So let's see. If there's nothing going on here right now, I'm going to go back and show you an example of that strategy that I was referring to. So it doesn't look like we're going to have much going on here. I just want to give you guys a heads up for like what I'm going to do this week, because I think this strategy works very well, especially during a market like this. And also because it is a 1 to 2 strategy. So like, for example, if you lose one trade here and you win the next one, you're basically back to in profit. I know that's something a lot of people have been asking for, of course, something with a better risk reward. 1-to-1's fine too, but not during a sideways market like this, and not when your CP stop loss is super tight. So let me just put this in our criteria for the day. Fortunately, we had a loss here for market flow. Just hoping that was going to balance out. So you can see over here, this looks like the trade should have played out. The only thing is we got caught in the fake out right here. Price came down, faked out at the bottom range, and then it shot right back up. So, I mean, it's all good. It happens. And like we've said, it's all part of the game, but it is kind of frustrating that we get caught in these trades a lot of the times, because you can see we had the right idea. Price was supposed to be bullish. It was going to retrace and shoot back up. The only thing is that our stop loss was too tight. So again, it's all good. I mean, it's part of the game, but it is starting to get more and more annoying as we get closer and closer to the fall season, but it's all good. We'll keep looking for the next entry. So if you guys want to take another market flow entry, there may be another opportunity here. I'll stick on this chart first before I go in to show you guys examples of the session strategy. Ross is asking what stop loss we're using. What are you referring to, Ross? Are you talking about the market flows? Because it's always been 15-15. It was 15-15. It's always been 15-15 for the market flow entries. So it'd be this one here. The market flows are always a 1-to-1. I mean, you can adjust it if you want. If you want to adjust it to like, sometimes you can make slight adjustments. Like for example, the ATR right here is like close to 30. So if you want to use a 30-30, this could, I mean, it could work too, but sometimes it doesn't necessarily work in the way that you want it to. But I mean, the 30-30 works. It's just you'd have to adjust. There's so much work that has to be done with regard to my trailing stop and well, not my trailing stop, but just my ATM features. I would have to have it like preset. Nice. Okay, yeah. So Ross over here actually set his to 25.10. So Ross over here was able to survive the little retracement. Nice, Ross. So Ross actually he adjusted his to 25.10. So, you know, just like Ross said here, there's like different ways to do it. For me personally, I was trying to keep it to a 1-to-1, which is a 15-15. I think the 15-15 just might be a little too tight during the sideways market. You can see if the market's moving directional like this, it's super easy to catch the entries, right? Because this is how the market should be moving. But because we keep getting caught in this consolidation, the sideways move, it's really what's triggering the stop loss, because we typically don't expect price to come down and go sideways like this. We expect it to come down slightly and then just shoot right back up. So, I mean, it is what it is, but we'll just keep applying this how it is. But thanks, Ross, for the heads up on that. I knew some people here were using different TP stop losses, which is completely fine. It's just and ideally, I mean, that's probably gonna be the best case scenario for this type of market. But I'm just gonna keep it as is for now because we are getting closer and closer to mid-September. It's September 9th today, so we have about a week's time until we get to mid-September. Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So Roston, when it's working, he goes 25-20. Yeah, that's solid. Because if you guys remember before, we have the same cushion, or we had a better cushion. We had 1030 our TP stop loss. If I did a 1030 on this would have worked out perfect too. Right. Same situation. It's just the tight stop loss is kind of what's the main issue right now. All right, guys, so we have a possible opportunity here for market flow. There's a buy signal that came up right here. There's no entry that came up yet for market flow, so there's still going to be opportunity here. The only problem here, again, that we were talking about is that you don't want to get caught in the sideways move. So if the market's moving directional and continues to move directional, you know, perfect, that'd be great. But if the market starts to go sideways, that's where you want to start to be a little wary because the stop loss is just a little too tight. If you guys want to do kind of similar to what Ross is doing, you know, like you said, you can use a wider TP stop loss. He's using a 1020 or 1025. That works. If you want to use a 1030, you can use that as well. The original 1030. Ideally, this is probably the best case scenario, but I'm gonna stick to my 15-15 for now. I don't want to make any drastic changes live session, right? I'll make some changes and I'll do some analysis and I'll look back like maybe after the session so I can kind of have an idea, okay, this is what I'm working with, this is what I need to change for tomorrow. But I don't want to do it during live session because as you guys know, if you guys do stuff like that during live session, it can end up really, really bad. And I've seen it happen to a lot of people where they do stuff like that during session and then they end up revenge trading. Right. It's a big issue with a lot of people. And a lot of people have mentioned there's this other trader. And I don't like to talk about other traders, but this has been popping up a lot over the past couple of days. I think his name is Don Vo. He trades kind of similar to us. He's a YouTube trader. He live streams and he trades, but his risk reward is crazy. So his risk reward, like I thought ours was bad, you know, in comparison. We used to do a 1030 for our risk reward. What he would do is 10 to 100, which I think is insane. He had like a crazy win streak. That's how he's kind of known online. So he would do something like this with a 10 to 100, which I think is pretty mad. But yeah, basically what he in order for him to make this work is like he'd have all his drawdown for it to come back up and basically his TP before it hits stop loss, right? And what happened was he was doing account management. And if you look him up, he's like all over the internet right now. He had a pretty good reputation for having a high win rate, like kind of what we did here. And recently or a couple months ago, he started doing account management, kind of similar to my hedge fund. And this is where things go bad. He was managing about like I think 3 million in people's money. And in one day, he just went on tilt. He took over 300 trades within a couple hours, and he basically lost the entire fund within like a couple hours, which I think is pretty crazy. So yeah, I don't really like talking about other traders, but that's an example of someone who, ends up going on tilt. So I don't change my trading plan mid session. If anything, if I need to make some adjustments, I'll wait until after the session is done. I'll review my trading day and I'll be like, okay, this is what needs to be changed, right? Change TP stop loss or change contract size or change strategy or change stuff like that. I come in every day with a plan. My plan for the day is market flow. If I have to test other strategies, I'll test them. But for the most part, I'll come with my market flow for 15-15. And then I'll make adjustments, say tomorrow if necessary. But I won't be making adjustments on here during our live session. That's kind of how you trade on tilt. You start to get false confidence and things just start to go downhill. So, all right, guys, 712 right now. The market is pushing directional right now, but the volatility is kind of low. So what I'm looking for here for a market flow entry is I'm looking for price to come down, push back up, provide opportunity there for an entry, but we just don't have that here yet, which you guys can see. The NQ entry over here never filled. Here, I'm going to go back now and I'm going to show you guys the entry from Friday. We just have a lot of free time here. There's nothing going on, so I'll show you guys real quick the entry from Friday. $630. Yeah, we're just getting sideways move here. If you guys want to take the market flow, I mean, feel free to take it if it does come down. So what you want to look for here is price to come down, bounce off the pivot, shoot back up. Yeah, I don't know if this will happen because the volatility here is so low. But if you guys are looking for it, market flow setting up right there, possibly. Anyway, so here's the market on Friday. So price pushes past the area right here for the Asia high. So this is basically the same setup that we were trying to take for today. So like same situation here. I'd put my TP stop loss right there. Profit is 200, stop loss is 100. Basically waiting for price to come back down to fill from where it's currently at. So you can see over here that it finally does fill at this point. Basically market open here, came up. This is the Asia high. I'm looking for it to push back down to the Asia low right here. So this is the same setup that I was trying to take today. See how perfect that is? It works very well in a sideways market, but yeah, unfortunately it didn't work out this way today because price was in the other direction, which again, I mean, is perfectly fine. This is literally the same setup that I was trying to take today. Price came above, came back down. The only thing is today price didn't actually come down. Price came down, bounced off the session, then shot right back up. So this is kind of what I'm looking for. And then again, if price comes below this point, so see at this point right here, price is now below the Asia low. So at this point, I would actually write it back to the upside. So right here, same thing, just the other way, because price came below here. Now I'm looking for price to come up and go right back to the session above. Right, so let's see if it fills right here. Actually, not this one. So price came down below the Asia low, and then it came down to the London low right here. So now that it pushed down to the next level, it'd be down to here, and I look for it to come back down further. Now that it's down here, that's where I would set my entry for the New York low. I would try to reach the New York high, but obviously it's like too far out. So it would fill right here. And then you can see it would play out right there. So this is the strategy that I was trying to apply today. It was just the setup today didn't work well because the sessions were so far apart. This over here, the sessions are pretty close. So It's enough to reach like 200 points. So you can see over here that the risk reward is positive and it works very well. I'll be applying this pretty much all week, guys. So I just wanted to show you guys some examples here. And then basically by 8 o'clock, I'm done, right? Because I trade from 6:30 to 8. You can see 2 entries here came up perfect. And they played through and shot straight to their TP. So just an example there. Looks like a market flow might be active right here. I'm not sure if this is active or not, if you guys were watching it. But it looks like it is. So price went sideways. Again, this is a type of market that I wouldn't necessarily look to take the market flow. The market flow did come in, but it didn't necessarily come in how I wanted it to. Because I don't want to trade in a sideways move like this. Because this could have easily went the opposite direction. But again, there's another market flow right here if you guys took it. I just don't like when price is going sideways like this. I want it to be moving. So I want it to climb up, retrace, continue up higher. We're still in these summer market conditions, which is super annoying, but hoping they start to pan out a little later to move forward with this month. Yeah, exactly, Brock. I think that's how he blew everybody's money when he was managing accounts, because I think he just, it's just a couple losses and you pretty much blew everything. But he also took 300 trades, which I think is crazy. I don't know how someone can take 300 trades within a 2 to 3 hour period. It's a lot of trades. That's 100 trades per hour, basically. Nice, Jason. So I've never heard of that strategy before. I'll take a look at it later to see, maybe I can pull some ideas from that strategy to factor into my sessions. But yeah, I'm just calling it the sessions because that's literally what's happening. I'm just trading from session to the next session with a max TP stop loss, basically. So, all right, guys, there's no entries here right now. What I'm going to do is I'll show you guys one more example from Thursday. Just that you guys have an idea, and then we'll be ready to apply this during actual market. So, okay, so Thursday is actually a good example because this is the same setup from today. So price was above the Asia high. Okay, so the difference with this here is that this kind of pushed up above the Asia high, like right before market open. And it's the same thing. So this is the same exact thing that we tried to take today. But the only difference is that this one actually worked out. So looking at this right here, same situation, price comes down, comes below the Asia high, and then I'm basically writing it down to the next session right here. So I actually wouldn't use a 200 TP stop loss here. I'd use something tighter because the session is actually lower. So I'd probably use like a 140. Slightly different, 140 right there. Then the stop loss will be 70. So I'm going from the session to the next session. And then same with down here, price comes below. So in this situation right here, do the same thing, and then I write it right back up. So for this one, I would actually use the big one because it's pretty far out. So TP would be right, or entry would be right there. And then same thing. It'd be 200, 100. Go straight to the Asia high right there. So for this one, the stop loss would be moved in profit. Sorry, 1 second. Sneeze. Okay. Anyways, so this right here, the stop loss would actually be moved in profit because I have my trailing stop set up. So whenever it pushes to 100 points, I actually would have gone stopped out right here. I mean, we could have probably held it longer, but The stop loss would have been moved in profit right there. Or if I wanted to hold it longer, I mean, I guess technically I could have. But I'm going to be using the trailing stop for that one. Or not for that one, just in general. I'll be using the trailing stop for pretty much all of them. All right, so there's no entry here yet for the the market flow already came up. So we had one losing market flow over here. We had one winning market flow right here. This would still be iffy for me because you guys can see here the market's going sideways. It's not exactly the type of market conditions that I want to be trading in. Let's see. See, Barack and Sean, you still have the NQ analysis highlighted. Yeah, this one right here. There you go, Barack. So it hasn't filled yet. It's almost going to fill soon. Looks like. Kind of tempted to try this out on NQ too. Let's see here. The problem with NQ is that I just never really trade NQ, so it's a little difficult for me to I guess we could test it out. Let's see. I mean, the only way to really to get better at this stuff is to actually test it out. So let's see. The entry over here for NQ is at and this is where it becomes a bit of an issue. So this is why I don't like NQs because they work in decimals. So it's a little hard to get the exact price points for these right here. I'll do it anyways. Let's see where it's at. The entry's at 18.6. $18.621. And I don't know how to use. Let me see what this. $18.62150. I'm trying to figure out how to drag on NQ. I still don't understand, or not NQ, but just in general, Ninja Trader. Oh, it's too late. All right. I don't even think I can create NQ on my personal account. For some reason, my data is like super delayed. Trying to set it up, but it's okay. I'll just stick to YM, guys. I don't want to like mess with this. I think I might have to pay for the data separately on my Ninja. But yeah, I'll go back over here to YM real quick. We have a sell signal, so if the buy signal does come back up, there may be opportunity there, but there's just nothing here yet. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's different because I know CBOT is for YM. I don't know if NQs is something else. Yeah, I was trying to look at the NQ data here on Ninja, but for some reason it's like it's delayed a bit. Yeah, Visual said, don't trade NQ, it will destroy your account. Yeah, that's why I haven't traded NQ ever. It just hasn't really it hasn't struck like my interest. Like I just never really liked NQ. I feel like NQ is too volatile. Like YM is too slow right now, but then NQ is just too volatile at times. Let's see. I don't think it's filled yet, but yeah, NQ is a little too volatile. The thing with YM here is that you can make adjustments where you can just change your TP stop loss. You know, you can make small adjustments to like pretty much adhere to the market conditions. But for my testing, you know, the YM stuff generally works the best. So I'll just close the NQ chart. Fuck, I already closed it. I was going to make a thing of it, but it's okay. So I'll just put this right here. I'll rename it. Sessions YM. Here's our clean chart. There's still not much going on here. So we now have the range between this area right here and this area. Same typical market. You just go sideways within the range. Not really much going on here. Just back and forth, back and forth. Other than that, here is the SR zones that I drew earlier. I'll try to get on a little earlier to mark up these zones so that you guys have them on the chart. I just have different structures here marked up. These are the SR zones, also known as support and resistance. So these are the support and resistance zones marked up from the 10-minute time frame. This is our clean chart. I just have the levels marked up at the specific price levels, basically the whole numbers. Price is currently ranging between 50 points, so there's not really much going on here. Here is the 100-point move. So you guys can see the entry from this morning. We just got spiked out, unfortunately. So price spiked out and then it shot all the way back up. This tends to happen, you know, this doesn't never happen. It happens every so often. But today's entry unfortunately spiked down and then it spiked all the way back up to its TP. So typical Monday, as you guys know, you know, these are typical case of the Mondays where the market typically does unusual things on Mondays. Mondays, as we call it in the past, they're basically feeler days. So Monday is basically going to give you an idea of like what's going to happen for the rest of the week. The only problem with today is that there's not really much going on with regard to news. So I don't think this is going to be a good feeler day because realistically Wednesday is going to be the big day where CPI data comes out. So we have CPI, core inflation rate year over year, inflation rate month over month, core inflation rate month over month, and CPI SA. So we got a ton of news here on Wednesday for CPI. Monday, Tuesday is not really going to give you a heads up of like what's going to actually happen over here. As you guys can see over here from the inflation rate, it looks like the numbers are, I think it's going to be positive. Or actually, I think it's going to be mixed. So I think year over year, it's coming down. Core inflation rate year over year is pretty much neutral. The actual CPI for this month is positive, possibly negative. I think it's going to be positive though, because this month they're supposed to be dropping the interest rates. So whatever the data comes out, I think it's going to be positive. Or what might happen is next week is Fed week, right? There's no Fed week this week. Yeah. So next week is Fed week. So I think this year might drop price lower. So this is kind of what I see happening for YM. I think price is going to be manipulated to the downside. So let's go on the higher time frame, like say the 60-minute. Here, let me go on the clean chart. I think it's going to be a lot easier. So let's go over here to the clean chart. Let's go on the 1 hour. Okay, so I think what might happen for this week is price may drop lower. So I think you can see price has been dropping lower. It's been dropping lower since September 3rd. So from September 3rd up until now, price has kind of been dropping a little bit. I think what's going to happen here is price is just going to continue dropping. And then next week when the interest rates are released, because they're going to release them next week on Wednesday or not Wednesday, but next week for sure for Fed week. I think this is going to come down, and then when the interest rate comes out, it's going to come right back up. It's just going to be a huge correction. So it's a little tricky week because this is the week before NFP, not NFP. It's the week before inflation, interest rates are announced. There's no guarantee the interest rates are going to come up this month. They're going to come up either this month or next month. They said they're going to raise interest rates once this year. So, I mean, it's a bit of a toss-up. It can happen this week, this next week, next month. It can also happen November or December. But ideally, it's going to happen September or October. They don't like to raise interest rates or lower interest rates during the winter because that's holiday time. So we'll kind of have to just play it by ear. And I mean, we'll see what happens. But all right, guys, if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. 7:31 right now. It's about 30 minutes till 8. I'm not done here on the chart, so I'll keep looking for some more opportunities. The only problem here is that, again, price is consolidating sideways. Here's our clean chart right here. You can see price. Look for the possible fake out. So that now that price has come below this point, look for the possible fake out and swing back into the range. That's the only thing I can possibly look for here. I mean, otherwise, if price does decide to come down a bit lower, target price point is going to be the 50 mark right here. So there's two things that'll happen here. Price will either fake out, swing back into this range, or price will swing down and continue consolidating down here. So there's two consolidation zones. Price will either push up and consolidate right here, or price will push down and consolidate down here. One or the other, right? Or if the market really wants to screw with you, it'll probably consolidate within this area here. There's just two different areas of consolidation. And this is kind of what we've been used to. So it looks like price is pushing up. Fake out right there. Push back into this area, back into consolidation. Frustrating market. Frustrating summer market. I wish I would have came up with this strategy. You know, the session strategy before. I had an idea of it, but I didn't necessarily. Okay, so here's the NQ strategy that I was just referring to, guys. And it's about to hit full TP. Damn, look at that. So I was trying to take this entry earlier, but it didn't. I wasn't able to set it up because I think my Ninja doesn't have the data for NQ. But here's the same entry that we took earlier for the sessions that I was just telling you guys about. Played out perfect. So price came above, came back down, filled right there, came straight to its TP right there, 200 points. If the stop loss is moved to 100, you might have gotten stopped out at the 100-point move, but possibly down here. Did you catch that, Barack? Because I showed it to you before it came up, right? So it actually played out perfect. Hopefully you caught it. I'm hoping somebody caught it. I wanted to take it, but I couldn't take it on my Ninja account. I could probably take it on my Apex, but not on my Ninja. Nice. Okay, yeah, so Barack did catch it. Nice work, Barack. No problem. Glad to see you caught that there. So hoping that this here plays through tomorrow. If it plays through tomorrow, it'll be great because it'll pretty much recoup the loss from today. Small loss, but still loss, which still kind of burns a little bit. All right. So we'll keep looking for entries here. So this is just a good sign. It's a good sign that the strategy worked because now I'm like confident with it. I'm like, okay, it still worked perfectly fine like later on in the session. Like I said, there's about one or two entries that come up. First one came up for YM over here, unfortunately didn't play through. Price came down, then actually pushed through to the bottom and just faked out, went right back up. And again, that's the reason why we do the 2-to-1, because you can be wrong once and you can be right on the next one. Like for example, here, this trade lost for 100 points, right? this trade lost for 100 points, but if I took this and the NQ entry, so say I took this one lost for 100 points, which I did take, and then I took the NQ one, this one would have won for 200 points. So I'd basically be back in profit because I would cover the 100-point loss, and then on top of that, I'd have another 100 points for net positive profit. So we'll test it out again tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow the sessions are a bit smoother and they're more like in line, so that we don't have the same problem from today where we have to enter it from the opposite direction. All right, so there's no other entries here right now. We currently have a sell momentum. So with the sell momentum, you may be able to find a market flow entry for a sell. But again, we need this here to drop a little bit lower, retrace, come back down from there. All right, we have a pending buy signal right here. If this buy signal closes, which it did, you may have opportunity here for a market flow for a buy. If anybody is looking to take that. Possible market flow right here. It's got 45 seconds left on it. Currently running right now. I was going to try to get into it, but it was a little too late. By the time I was going to set the order, it already shot up right there. So it's too late to make entry. Looks like it's probably going to hit. There you go, full TP. So if you guys take that market flow right there, nice work. I was trying to get into it as soon as I was setting my pending order. Again, I gotta decide if I'm going to do pending orders or market orders, because the pending orders, of course, work nicely, but sometimes these entries come up way too fast. So I wasn't able to set my pending order quick enough. And then it ended up shooting right there. So for the market flow entries today, we had one loss right here and then two back-to-back wins. We had one loss right here, and then this one won, and then this one right here won. This is actually a good entry that I would have been okay with taking, because there was volatility here. Price was going sideways, but there was volatility with the initial big candle here, retracement and continuation. Let's see, Barack said your entry coincided with cumulative delta zero level. May not be anything, but he'll look at it tomorrow. Yeah, well, definitely, Barack. Work. Another possible opportunity here for a market flow entry if anybody's looking to take that. So this is the type of market that we want. So you guys can see here when the market's actually moving directional, the market flows, they flow perfectly, right? Like this one over here flowed perfectly. This one over here also flowed perfectly. You just want price to push up, retrace, shoot back up from there. It's pretty simple. It's a very simple strategy. We're basing it off the momentum. But because of the sideways market, it's just not really, it's not the time for this strategy right now. You know, once we have a more directional market, this is going to be perfect because you can pretty much catch every bounce, right? Price comes up, comes down, bounces. Right now, because price is going sideways within this range, becomes an issue because it'll be going directional for like a second, then the next second it doesn't, then the next second it doesn't, the next second it does, and there's just no consistency here with the market conditions. The good thing is that we're getting closer and closer to the fall season. It's September 9th. We're technically in fall right now. Let me check when's the official first day fall. Official. Okay, so the first day of fall doesn't actually start until September 22nd. Not that it matters, but if you want to be, so when is the first day of fall? First day of fall is 2024, Sunday, September 22nd. So I mean, technically it's not really the fall season yet. People are probably still on vacation right now. And by people, I mean the market makers, institutions, stuff like that. So there's no entries here yet that are available, of course. Let's leave. There's two market flows that came up earlier, guys. This one and the one before. Let's leave it marked up for you guys there. So it looks like we're gonna be stuck in this type of market for like maybe the next 2 weeks. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to hop into the chat. 7:41 right now, so probably gonna be wrapping this up pretty soon, guys. There's not really much here for us to work with. But if there's anything you want me to cover, feel free. Brock said solid day. Thank you, Sean. K2 squad. Yeah, definitely, Brock. Glad you locked in those good profits. Wish I could say the same for myself, but it's okay. Today's just Monday. We have a whole week ahead of us, so there's not really much here to fret about. My Ninja Trader just lost connection for some reason. I think that's my cue. I mean, it wouldn't matter. I'm not taking any more trades for the day. I took one official loss, which was the market flow entry. Right after, there was actually more market flows that came up that I didn't take because of the, I mean, obviously the market conditions. Where I went sideways right here. This is why I've just been taking entries. Even though I lose a trade, I just take another entry because it'll typically balance out or, I mean, worst case scenario, it's just a second loss. But for the most part, if I would have taken this one right here, I would have broke even. If I take any of these two entries right here, would have been back in profit. But here we go, this price goes sideways. So you can't really see the sideways movement here as clear. You kind of see it, but not really. You can see it a lot more clear on the clean chart here. So on the clean chart here, you guys can see the consolidation. It's not really doing much. Here's the SR zone. Yeah, let's see if I can find more zones here. There's no zones in this specific area. 5 minute. Yeah, there's nothing in this specific area right here. If you guys are just looking on the 5 minute chart, you can see that price is just consolidating within this area right here down the middle. Back to the 1 minute. Still a, it's just a sideways market here. Yeah, there's not too much going on. So, all right, guys, it's 7:45. There's not really too much going on here. There's just nothing here to take. Let's see. So the NQ entry over here played out perfect. I'm just trying to see if there's any other entries here that could have came up. Again, there's just no, like the sessions are too far from current price. So like there's not going to be another entry over here. Usually my cutoff is 8 o'clock. If you want to apply it later into the session, I mean, feel free. The Asia low is down here, the London low is down here. So if price comes down below this point, you can probably catch it on its correction back up. Vice versa, if price climbs up here, like I don't think price is going to climb up to this high point here because this is like about a 400 point push to the upside. It's pretty far up. So this is probably not going to happen. And this is more ideal. I mean, it's still 400 points away, so maybe not. But yeah, there's not really much else here for us to take, guys. So I don't really see any other questions in the chat, so I think I'm going to wrap this up for the day. Unfortunately, I took one loss today off my market flow entry, off the official entries. I'll keep trying to apply the sessions entry. The only problem with the sessions entry is that it's going to overlap with, like if I get a market flow. So if I had a sessions entry, then it overlaps with the market flow. I'm gonna have to skip the market flow because I can't add a second entry while the other one's still active. even if it's just one contract. So. All right, guys, I think that's it for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, there's not really much here to work with right now. As you guys can see, price is still continuing to go sideways within this range. If you guys want to keep trading, I mean, you could trade within the range here, but just make sure that there's some sort of direction. So if you guys are looking for some market flow entries, I mean, you can trade within the range here. There's probably going to be another market flow here if this buy signal closes. Otherwise, if it doesn't close, then you have to wait for that buy signal to close, look for it to push up, retrace, continuation to the upper range right here. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, we'll come back here tomorrow. Tomorrow, there's not really much news, so the volatility might be a little bit slow still. And then on Wednesday, it should pick back up into full steam because we have CPI news that morning. So. All right, guys, about 15 minutes till 8. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. I'll still be online. I'm going to go back and do some testing here to see if there's any changes that I need to make.